Offender in custody. Anyone else close by just to result, let me know.
If it all happened outdoors, I don't think it. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think it happened outdoors. When the photos came out, yes, they're not that messy. There's some stuff we're going to be digging into it, but there's 200 photos. So I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but there's 200 photos and we've only gotten 25. So I'm not going to say that it couldn't have happened in there, because I mean, trust me, we got photos of the beds and things like that, and you're sitting there and you could hear me say it. I'm like, damn, there should have been way more than this. But at the same time, there's 200 photos. If it might have happened somewhere else, I'm going to hold that until these other photos, because if that took place, and I'm just going to be honest with you, coming from the streets, if that took place, that is way too much to keep secret and way too much to try and cover up, and way too many people to not say nothing. I'm just being honest with you. If that was the case, and I'm telling you from the street shit here, it's not very plausible. I know it sounds good, and I know it sounds like, but really, when you break it down and you're talking about the people that commit this kind of stuff, why do you think people take out witnesses? You know what let's go down to surface level. Why do you think people take out witnesses? Okay. So when you're talking about something that's happening like that, do you think one person's going to be able to do that? No. What happens if it's more than one? Well, all of a sudden there's witnesses. You know why people take out witnesses? Because witnesses talk. For it to have happened over here and this and that, and then they were brought, it leaves too much room for something to go wrong. And there's easier ways to do it. Is it plausible? Of course. But at the same time, when you're really like breaking it down, some people didn't grow up the way that I did, and that's fine. I would rather people not grow up like that. But at the same time, it's given me knowledge to try and understand and break things down, to use it, to use it for good. You know what I'm saying? To try and like make a difference. It was pretty crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. I did the 25 crime scene photo video. I did the slideshow for you guys. I talked a minute in the beginning and I talked a little bit after. And I even brought this up, and I'm surprised nobody is even really talking about this when I saw the photos. And I'm like, what about the cop that's not wearing personal protective equipment, booties, and all this other stuff, right? I'm just like, you see that photo and you're like, where's the booties? Not those old ladies going, where's the beef for Wendy's? It's like, where's the booties for Idaho 4? We saw that they didn't have booties on the outside. We saw the DNA contamination, the DNA dirty gloves that took place before they walked into the crime scene. But where's the booties? 2 people at most. Yeah, like, well, and I always had a hard time thinking that one person could have committed this crime for the last couple years, until we saw that Prime Video doc. And I said it when we were watching that. It's on Twitch, Watch Party. But when we were doing that Prime Video doc, and that's when we found out from Hunter and Emily that the students literally woke up drinking. Yeah, man, I was already tossed by noon. I was already tossed. I had to take a nap. I'm like, damn, no wonder one person, right? The whole time I'm sitting there going, how in the hell does one person do this? Until that Prime Video doc. And then when I heard them talk about that morning and how much they were drinking and how the party, and Xana was having a party. Hey, everybody, come over here. And they were going to the Taylor Avenue apartments, the Whites. back and forth from 1112 to Taylor Ave, back and forth, partying, drinking from morning, partying and drinking in the afternoon, partying and drinking at night. That's why some of the friends went to bed at 8, 9 o'clock that night, because they were already tossed out. Josie was one of them. Like, yo, she goes, there's always another party until there's not, because she went to bed early even. That's what makes sense to me. And then after that, Xana and Ethan went out drinking, and Kaylee and Maddie went out drinking. To me, that's when I was like, oh, wow. That's how one person would have been able to do it. And if you've been there before, where you're sitting there and you're almost at the point where you're hanging on a rail because you're just like, you're so tossed where you're wobbly and you don't have the awareness. You don't have the motor skills. That's why you're not even allowed or supposed to be operating motor vehicles, because you don't have the motor skills. So when one person comes in, he got lucky, man. When you're talking about being that inebriated, you don't have the awareness and the motor skills, and you don't. That's how I agreed with you, man, up until that prime doc, and then I'm like, oh, well, shoot, man. I mean, damn. Now it makes sense. Drinking from morning, afternoon, and through the night. I'm not saying everybody's drank alcohol. I've partied plenty. And I was partying, like I said, I was out there early as shit, man, 12, 13. You don't think I was partaking? Shit. I was partying. I was drinking Hennessy by fucking 14 years old, hanging out with the OGs, you know. I was at one of them little shorties, right? If anybody knows, I was one of them little shorties. Okay, so that's how I grew up, and then I've been around there, like you. I've seen plenty of fights too. Been in plenty of fights. When there's alcohol involved, it's there. Trust me. It does make a difference. Mama Jade, thank you so much for being a member for 17 months. Damn. There's too much blood in the house for it to have taken place somewhere else. We just haven't. Yeah, there's 200 photos. They're going to be coming. Like I said, when people are like, oh gosh, this is no. And I'm like, look, it's not showing it. It is weird. It is odd. And when you're looking at the pictures of the bed, you're like, dang, I expected way more. But there's 200 photos. Partied all day. And yes, man, they're way more easier to control.